Morning, ladies and gentlemen. I've still got a big smile on my face. You've definitely still got a big smile on my face. And my camera's actually turned on here, which was always fun and games when that turned off during the stream yesterday when Fabrizio Romano decided to join the chat and give us the here we go. That was exciting. Yesterday was exciting. Varane to Manchester United is exciting. It is a hell of an exciting signing. Normally defenders, when you sign defenders, sometimes they're a bit, it's not that exciting a signing. Then you go out and sign Raphael Varane. Raphael Varane to Manchester United. It's 10 years later than when Fergie wanted him. It's 10 years later than when he left Lens and he went to Real Madrid. In that time, he's won the Champions League 4 times. He's won La Liga. He's won the World Cup. He comes to Manchester United. He will come to Manchester United, an elite level force that will hopefully transform the mentality of this Manchester United team. But good morning to every single one of you. Thank you all for joining me in the comments, as you always do throughout the entire live stream. This one is going to be a good one. I'm going to run through all the information because so much happened yesterday. It's very hard to keep on top of. What I'm going to do in this video is run through all the information about his fees, about his wages, about when his medical is going to be, about when we're going to see Raphael Varane holding up that Manchester United shirt, and when we can expect him to join Manchester United, get in that preseason camp and get ready for that game against Leeds. So there's loads of information to run through in this show. As always, throughout the stream, drop a like on the video if you would. It really does help the channel. If you have any questions, fire them in comments or fire in a super chat if you really want to ask me. And if you really want to support the channel, as plenty of you have already done, as plenty of you did join yesterday, there's a membership for the channel. Join down below. It's less than the price of a pint. And as I keep saying, anything I do make is going to go back into the channel to make it bigger and better. But let's talk about Raphael Varane. And as always, let me quickly, before I move on, you let me know in the comments where you're watching from. You let me know the town and let me know the country. I'll try and get a few of you added onto the fabled map because I tell you what, got a little bit distracted yesterday, didn't we? Because, Raphael Varane happened. And then as we were on the stream, the here we go happened. It was good to do that live. I was happy on the stream there to do that with you. But let's talk about all the actual official information that's come out about it now. Because it all kind of kicked off yesterday and it was all a bit mad. No one really, well, everyone enjoyed it. But one sec, I can see someone spamming a link here on Facebook. So Adam David Anthony, you are now blocked, sir. That's your own fault. Anybody, I don't actually know how to moderate comments on Facebook. So sorry on Facebook if things are a little bit different. I only know really how to moderate comments on YouTube. Ronan, I do have my camera plugged in today. And I tell you what, it's got loads of battery. Too much battery, in fact. It might overpower it. But let's talk about the main man himself, Raphael Varane. Manchester United have agreed a fee with Real Madrid for Raphael Varane. Now, this is from Simon Stone from the BBC, someone who I trust very, very much. And the story has been very, very similar across all the journalists yesterday. Remember, that's why I went live yesterday. Before, let me quickly do a little recap. I went live yesterday because I saw all the established press. I saw them all unified, coming at the same time. James Ducker, Simon Stone, Howard Nurse, David Ornstein, all the established press all came out at the same time. I was like, something's changed here. This is when it's changed. And then when we were live on the stream, it went, here we go. So I definitely timed it right in that respect. Good. Big up to 2 of you this morning. Lee Francis Zeze, how you doing, my friend? Welcome to the United People's TV family, my friend. As Christopher Tate joins as well. Lovely to see both of you join. Looking forward to seeing you in the comments. Looking forward to seeing you in Discord chat. Mike Kane saying he loves a shirt. It's nice, isn't it? Can't remember where I got it from. Yeah. Thanks very much, Mike. Right. But anyway, this is the impressive part. Look at that. Look at that fee that we're about to pay, or have paid, sorry, for Raphael Varane. An initial £34 million. 34 million. 34 million. I can't get my head around the price of that. Yes, sure, Raphael Varane does only have 1 year left on his contract. That plays into Manchester United's hands. And Real Madrid knew that he wanted to leave the club. And if he wasn't going to sign a new deal, that they were just going to lose him for free next year. And Real Madrid can't afford to do that because they're in massive debt. But £34 million, rising to 42, and it's probably going to be easily achievable add-ons like, I don't know, make 50 appearances for Manchester United, XYZ. It's not going to be like Raphael Varane to win the Ballon d'Or. But initial 34 million is a staggeringly good bit of business from Manchester United. Whether that goes down to John Murtough, I personally think it does. Whether that goes down to Ed Woodward, no, I refuse to compliment that guy. And Matt Judge, apparently he's been in and involved around it. But that's so impressive. Lee Francis, you're watching from Durham, North Carolina. Well, mate, you've now joined the member gang. You are definitely getting on the map, my friend. Thank you very much for joining, and pleasure to have you here, sir. Durham in North Carolina. There you are, sir. You're on the map. Welcome aboard. Great to have you there. Thank you very much for joining, Lee. Right, let's head back to the Varane news. Don't want to get distracted too much by the map. But yeah, that initial 34 million to rise to 42 million is absolutely outstanding. Absolutely outstanding business from Manchester United. And it goes to show that, you know, this summer we're acting differently. We're acting like Manchester United really should be acting in the transfer market, which is something we haven't really seen, I don't think, since 2013. When we went and we lost the league on goal difference to Man City in 2012. What happens? We go and sign Robin van Persie, the best striker in the league. We win the league. Simple. Manchester United this summer, and I don't know what, I keep speaking about bloody Liverpool in every single stream apparently, but they did it right. They needed a goalkeeper and a centre-back. They went and signed a goalkeeper and a centre-back, and it transformed their team from a team on the edge to an actual genuine set of title challenging players. And that's what Manchester United really are doing. As Danny Wilson says on Facebook there, 34 million is an absolute bargain. We paid that for Eric Bailly. This is an interesting one. I just wanted to have a look at. If you go over here, so this is the list. Sorry if you can't see it. It's a little bit zoomed out. Let me zoom in a bit. There you go, nice and full screen. So this is a list of Manchester United signings that we've made over the years. So let's scroll back. Let's go as far back as 2012-13. Obviously, it's a little bit different because of inflation, X, Y, Z. But 27 million, as I said, 27 million for Van Persie is the last time I felt United really acted like United in the transfer market. Heading to the next year, well, we signed Juan Mata in January for 40 million, for more than we're paying for Raphael Varane, 4 times Champions League winner. 40 million. That Juan Mata one was a bit of a desperate move in January because Moyes and his arse was falling out, and we signed Fellaini for less than his release clause that expired only quite earlier. 67 million for Di Maria. We can nearly get 2 of these Varanes for 1 Di Maria, and 1 Varane is worth 10 Di Marias. About the same price we pay for Luke Shaw. Well, Luke Shaw is world class. And Herrera, same price. Cheaper than what we pay for Anthony Martial. About the same price we pay for Morgan Schneiderlin. My word. So as you can see here, like you can scroll through, there's plenty of examples. Less than about cheaper than Matic. Oh man, I don't know. It's such an incredible bargain, in my opinion, what we're paying for Raphael Varane, and it really is a fantastic thing. You got Orgasmo saying, fingers crossed his injury record is behind him from Madrid. I actually haven't looked at his injury record yet. I'll need to look at that a little bit more. But obviously, I don't hope. I hope he's not going to be injured. But moving on from here, from the fee with Raphael Varane, there's some nice, interesting snippets that have been coming out from Fabrizio Romano on how the deal actually went down. And it looks very much so that Raphael Varane played a key role in making that happen. Good morning to you, Anuj, member of the family. How you doing, my friend? Let's see where a few of you are watching from. You've got YS watching from Kandahar in Afghanistan. I'll get you added onto the map, my friend. Thank you very much for joining in on Facebook. Great to have you here. Good morning, KT on YouTube. How you doing? Drop a like on the video, my friend. Nihad saying he will do great with Lindelof. Big up the Sweden. Look, I said it yesterday on the stream, and I will maintain it. Victor Lindelof is a good defender. He is not a bad defender. Victor Lindelof should be there as a backup, really, in my opinion, to Harry Maguire. And we now have an excellent, well, I say an excellent, a decent backup partnership to Harry Maguire and to Raphael Varane. We've got Eric Bailly, we've got Victor Lindelof, we've got, well, Axel Tuanzebe. I think he's going to be going on loan for the season. But this bit here that I want to speak about, it seems like Raphael Varane really had played his hand in this whole transfer situation. Raphael Varane told Real Madrid during the weekend, I want to try something new. I respect you, but I'm not extending my contract today or at any point. I'm leaving as a free agent next summer. Varane said, if you're not happy with Man United's proposal this summer, I'm leaving as a free agent, and as I want to try something new in England. And that's why United pushed in the final few hours to get the deal done. So Raphael Varane there, for sure, has helped push this transfer through. Because if Raphael Varane was like digging his heels, was pulling a Sergio Ramos, was just using Manchester United to get a bumper new contract, that's what would have happened. And Real Madrid would have given that to him. And it would have been another situation where Manchester United were left empty-handed and felt used. That's never been the case with Varane. And I kind of maintain that the whole way through, that this felt different. That when you watch the Sergio Ramos to Manchester United story unfold, on one morning you would get a brilliant story about how much Ramos wants to leave and how much Ramos wants to join United. And the next day you'd get a complete U-turn from Spain saying, oh, actually, no, Ramos wants to stay. He's happy. He's just going to get a bumper new wage rise. That never happened with Raphael Varane to United. Throughout the entire process, it was he wants to leave, United are front runners. He wants to leave, United are front runners. And the story just gathered momentum and pace. And Man United took advantage of that. I'll be honest, I'm very surprised that no one else really properly went in for him. I mean, PSG were tentatively linked. Obviously, they got Kimpembe. They've got Marquinhos. They've just got Ramos on a free transfer. Were they really going to be getting Varane as well? Maybe they sort of priced themselves out of that move by going for Ramos instead, which I think is a mistake from them. If you're a PSG fan, surely you would rather have had Varane than Ramos. I don't know, but they wanted a free transfer. Benjamin, you're saying, come on, Stan, you didn't even think we were getting him. Look, I didn't think we were getting him. I did not think we were getting him. But throughout this whole process, it felt different watching this transfer unfold. When I've seen United get used, the story sort of switched and huge U-turns every single day. But with Varane, it was always kind of maintained in the right direction. And that's why I started to gather pace. Got Kalash saying, I'm a diehard fan of yours. You make sure you drop a like on the video then, Kalash. And thank you very much for joining in, my friend. I did call your name out. There you go. Let's see where else we're watching from. Ajin Kaya saying Varane's wages are 350k a week. What do I think about that? I genuinely think that Varane is worth any wages that he is going to be on. He's really going to transform this Manchester United team. I'm not really overly fussed about the wages. The wages are the reason that this is something I want to clear up. Actually, I'll go full screen here so you can see my lovely face. The reason Varane left Real Madrid was because he felt undervalued. Varane was there. I've explained this before, but I'll explain one more time. Varane was there. They signed David Alaba on a free from Bayern Munich, and they gave him like 30% higher wages than Raphael Varane is on. A player who has been at the club for the best part, for 10 years, has won 4 Champions Leagues with them, has won the World Cup whilst he's been there, has won the league with them, and Ramos has just left. It's a situation where Real Madrid played it wrong. They massively undervalued one of their strongest assets defensively. It's poor management from their club, and Manchester United took advantage of that. And I don't think it's a case that Raphael Varane's going to be coming here as a mercenary, a money grabber. He only cares about the money. That's not what anybody says about Raphael Varane, which I'll get into in a bit more detail here. But make sure, as always, there's over 2,000 of you watching here. Drop a like on the video. If you're watching on Facebook, please share it too. If you're watching on YouTube, make sure you subscribe. And if you want to, join the family. There's a little join button down below. Become part of the member crew at United People's TV. It's less than the price of a pint. And as I keep saying, and I will reiterate every time I mention it, any money that comes from that is going to be put back into the channel. I'm going to be hiring a video editor quite soon. Maybe if there's some of you that are interested in that, you can drop me an email, info@thepeoplesperson.com. It's going to be paid. Of course, it's going to be paid. But I want to be bringing more great content to United People's TV. And maybe one of you can help get involved in that. So if you want to, drop me an email and we can have a discussion about that. But moving on from the fee, which is insane. The fee is insane. As Tristan says here on YouTube, this is a massive transfer. This is a game-changing transfer for Manchester United. It probably just as much, if not more so, than Jadon Sancho, in my opinion anyway. As Chris here says, great statement of intent from Manchester United. Hello from Brisbane, Australia. How you doing, my friend? I'll get you added onto the map quite soon. But it is a huge statement of intent because not only have we gone out and signed Jadon Sancho in a summer where no one's... Jadon Sancho, this is an interesting point here that we all have to remember. We all want Manchester United to sign huge players and we all hate the Glazers. But this summer, the only signing that has happened in the Premier League that is over 40 million is Jadon Sancho to Manchester United. No other team has signed a player over 40 million. So for us to go and sign Jadon Sancho for over 40 and Varane just under 40, rising over 40, it's a big statement of intent, and it's taking advantage of an opportunity. And that's it's important in football that you do things like that. When other clubs are sort of resting on their laurels, Manchester United now finally have taken the front foot. And a really, really important point here is that Manchester United are signing the players that we need to sign before we sell the players that we need to sell. Previous summers, certainly quite a few summers, I've watched Manchester United just sit there and wait until we've got rid of the players that we want to get rid of before we bring the players in that we need. And it's left United panicking towards the end of the window. It's left United fans aggravated because we're just not making signings early, get them in the preseason, allow them to settle. Because look, Varane's coming with a wife and 2 kids. He's bringing them from Spain for 10 years, and now he's going the whole way to Manchester in the northwest of England. You need to give him and his family as much time as possible to settle as a human in his new surroundings. And that's what we've done with Varane. Previously, we would have signed him on deadline day like we did with Cavani. Cavani was free all summer, and we signed him on the last day of the window because we panicked. So as Gary says here, how you doing, Gary? And I remember on Facebook, mass clear out now, Sam. I'm going to have to do a video on that. I think we've already discussed it on the Deadwood that should be going out. I'm going to concise that into a nice short video and give it to you on Facebook and on YouTube in terms of the players that I think should be leaving Manchester United between now and the end of the summer transfer window. And there's plenty still to go. Look, what is it? 27th of July. We've still got just over a month before the transfer window shuts. And United still have a lot to do. Now, anybody new who's joining in, make sure you drop a like on the video. Make sure you subscribe if you're watching on United People's TV on Facebook or YouTube. But this is an interesting point here. Raphael Varane. The agreement is all done. He is a Manchester United player. All the fees done. The only thing that's stepping in the way of that is the medical. And that's where it gets a slightly complicated. So Mohamed Bahafsi came up with a story last night saying that the player must respect a quarantine when he returns to England. And there will be a medical at the start of next week, which was confirmed by Fabrizio Romano, saying Raphael Varane is expected to be unveiled as a Manchester United player next week. He will fly to Manchester this week, but will have a medical a few days later. So because of the coronavirus, because of quarantine rules, we are going to have to wait a little bit longer to see Raphael Varane holding up that Manchester United shirt, which is what we all desperately want to see. It is what it is. And I'll be honest, look, and I did a tweet about this. I've waited 8 years for Manchester United, in my opinion, to act like Manchester United in the transfer market. I can wait another week to have Raphael Varane unveiled and holding that United shirt up. So it's going to be great to see it happen. It's just that we're going to have to wait a little bit longer. Hopefully Manchester United won't drag out as much as we did with Jadon Sancho, but you cannot rule that out, can you? Let me go down to the comments here because there's so many people commenting. I need to give you a few shout outs. We've got Carl watching from Malta. How you doing? Great program. Lovely. You've been skydiving. I'm jealous about that. Nice profile photo. JC, how you doing, man? Member of the family saying, job still not finished. Get a centre mid ASAP. Can't afford a slow start to the season anymore. Excellent point. Excellent comment. And I completely agree with you, my friend. A central defensive midfielder absolutely has to happen next. Jermaine, you're saying we are signing an elite centre-back while Arsenal are signing Ben White for 50 million. Murto in. Look, Ben White may end up being a fantastic signing for Arsenal. There's no saying that he's going to be crap. It's just that Arsenal are paying the Premier League tax you get when signing players from Premier League clubs. They're paying 50 million for Ben White. We're paying 34 for Raphael Varane. Big up, Orgasmo. How you doing? Just contributing to the video editor's fee for the channel. Glory, glory, Man United and United People's TV. Big up to you, my friend. As I said, I really would like to bring someone in who's sort of a member of the family already, member of the community, who wants to become a video editor, who has the skills to do it. Maybe you can help take United People's TV up a level. Just drop me an email, info@thepeoplesperson.com. I'll also put out an advert as well for anybody who wants to get involved. But building on top of the fact that we're going to have to wait a few more days to see Raphael Varane in a Manchester United shirt, there was an excellent article that was put out by Samuel Luckhurst on what Raphael Varane is already doing to help Manchester United. I'll leave this in the comments. Actually, I'll pop this in the comments. You might want to read it. It's a nice little bit of information about the player we're signing. If I scroll down here, this is where it gets interesting. So Varane speaks English fluently, and I like this sentence here. He'll bring gravitas to a dressing room lacking winners. And that's exactly what we're signing here, ladies and gents. You cannot underestimate. I said it during the Euros. How amazing would it have been if we had Harry Maguire, Luke Shaw, Marcus Rashford, and Jadon Sancho coming back to Manchester United as Euro 2020 winners? They would have been chest out. They would have felt like such bigger players because of that. And it's such a shame that we didn't have that influence coming into this United team this year. But Raphael Varane is a winner. Raphael Varane has won the Champions League for more times than Manchester United has as a football club in the last 10 years. It's incredible. He's won the World Cup. He's won the pinnacle of football for any player in the world. He's bringing that experience and class and knowledge into a team which needs it. And therefore, we've now got two rocks at the back. Harry Maguire has shown himself to be a world-class player. I don't really think anybody can argue with that anymore. I don't, in my opinion, you can let me know what you think about that in the comments. But I think if anybody tries to say that Harry Maguire is not world-class anymore, I'll point them to Euro 2020 and every single performance he had. Goes on here to talk about Raphael Varane's influence in the World Cup final. This is the interesting part, though. Where is it? Let me scroll down. I do hate the Manchester Evening News website. Here. Industry figures who deal with footballers on a daily basis say Varane is the most self-critical player they have ever encountered. During the Euros Championships, he requested clips of opponents on 48 hours' notice, leaving no stone unturned in his strive for perfection. And this bit here too, because we need perfection in this defense. This defense is leaky, like a leaky tap. That's what we are. Varane has already studied snippets of United's defending and specifically asked for clips of their set-piece organisation. I'm very much glad that he only looked at that after he joined Manchester United. Otherwise, he might not have fucking joined, because we are abysmal at set-pieces. He was informed it would be a waste of time, as United was so hopeless at defending dead ball situations. Now, obviously, we've got Eric Ramsey coming in. I hope that will make a difference. But certainly, Raphael Varane coming in is going to make a huge difference too. Good morning to you, Stephen. How you doing? In the comments, my friend, a member of the gang. How you doing? Glad to have you here. Glad to be talking about Raphael Varane. But just that Anthony Varane, his brother, he speaks English fluently, which helped influence his move to United. He's been with his wife, Camille, since 11th grade. I don't know what that is out in France. 2 young children. Look, he's got a lovely family. He's established. Varane seems like the sort of character who really is going to come into this Manchester United team and help take us from here to there. More so, in my opinion, than Jadon Sancho would or will. Jadon Sancho is the sprinkling. Jadon Sancho's I don't know how best to describe Jadon Sancho, because he's certainly going to make a huge difference to this Manchester United team. And he's going to add goals. He's going to add assists. He's going to add everything that this unbalanced attack was missing. But Raphael Varane is going to bring something else that is missing on a more significant scale on Manchester United. Leaders, mentality, knowledge. There's so many things. There is so many things that Varane is going to bring that this Manchester United team just does not have, that you only get from being a quadruple Champions League winner, a World Cup winner. And bear in mind, Manchester United, and Raphael Varane would not have forgotten this. We wanted to sign him when he was 17. Fergie wanted to sign him, wanted to bring him to Manchester United. We spotted that talent early. It's just that Real Madrid got in there and Zidane got in there. So Varane won't have forgotten about that. And I think that's why he was probably excited by the concept of coming to Manchester United. It might be 10 years later than we wanted it to be, but we're getting him nevertheless. And he's 28. It's not as if he's past it. It's not as if we're signing Bastian Schweinsteiger from Bayern Munich that's already years past it and his injury record's abysmal. So it's Raphael Varane technically in his prime. Comment here from Orgasmo. Big up to you, always supporting the channel, man. Seriously. Varane has looked at the videos and his solution is to never play McFred ever again. Look, McFred has its benefits and McFred has its cons. It's pros and cons. You just can't be playing for McFred every single week. Maybe in a game where you want to shut up shop, maybe a Liverpool away and you want to have a little bit more control in midfield and you want to hit on the counter, Cool. McFred can suit that. But when you're at home against West Brom or at home against Norwich, you do not, and you should not be playing two holding midfielders in a team that has Pogba, Bruno, Rashford, Greenwood, Varane. Not that Varane's involved in that, but you get what I mean. McFred has its purposes, but unfortunately for United, it became the norm. Got a comment here from Tony Pereira. How you doing, my friend? Sam, the starting team against Leeds could comprise of all the players that were bought. It goes against the United tradition of bringing on academy players. Now, Tony, there is a huge tradition of the academy at Manchester United. We have got a record stemming back to, it always blows my mind this, I think it's about 1940, where every single matchday squad has had an academy graduate in it. Absolutely outstanding record for Manchester United to have that. Yes, we'll have Varane in there. We'll have Maguire in there. We'll have Shaw, and Wan-Bissaka. Henderson, he's an academy player. McTominay is an academy player. Rashford won't be starting. I know what you're getting at here, but Manchester United, even the greatest teams, the class of 92, when it came through, the class of 92 would not have been the class of 92 had we not had Bruce behind them, had we not had Cantona in front of them, had we not brought players in and around. There's world-class elite players in and around those academy players. It has to be the blend. The blend is important, like coffee. The blend absolutely has to be experience and quality at the same time as youthful exuberance and quality from the academy. United have got that blend wrong at certain points, and we've got it right at certain points. And for me, going into this season, I like what I'm looking at. Comment here from Keith Jackson. Big up to you, my friend. Thank you very much. Where are you watching from? Fayetteville in, where's NC? North Carolina as well. You're getting added onto the map, my friend. North Carolina is joining in this morning, I'll tell you that. Fayetteville. There you go, sir. You're added onto the map. Saying, loving the window so far. We just need a CDM now. Hell yeah, we need a central defensive midfielder, my friend. Absolutely, we do. I'll speak about that in a little bit. But an important point to make here, actually, as well. Oh, look, Ritesh Gill. Jiri, sorry, not Ritesh Gill. Big up to you, Ritesh, for joining. Thank you very much, my friend. Glad to have you on board. But an important point here that I want to say is that Manchester United's budget, as far as we have seen from all the stories in the press, has been 100 million this summer. Now, we signed Jadon Sancho for 72, and we signed Raphael Varane for 34. That's more than 100. It's not. And this has obviously happened in previous years, but Manchester United are splitting these payments out. Sancho is over 4 years. So that works out at, what's that, 72? So that's 16 mil, I think, per year. So that means we only spent 16 million this summer on Jadon Sancho. Raphael Varane will be split. I don't know whether we'll be allowed to split that over 4 because it's not that much money. But even if we split it over 2, that's only 17 up front for him. So that's what, 33 million on Sancho and Varane out this summer, which means they still is a lot of money that we can spend this summer. And we've been linked to a lot of players. We've been linked with Camavinga, with Neves, with Sorniguez, with Goretzka. They're probably the main central midfielders that we've been linked with. And what we're seeing from all the stories yesterday, let me see if I can pull this up as well. What we're seeing from all the stories yesterday is that Manchester United are not done, but more signings will be happening. And that is an important thing that we need to do because we're not done. It's really important that Manchester United build on the fact that we've just signed 2 elite level players. We need to build on the fact that that's not the end of the summer. Because if that is the end of the summer, it's not enough. In my opinion, it's not enough for us to challenge properly for the Premier League. There's no doubt that we're going to be a better team with just Sancho and Varane, and they help so much. But there's just that huge hole in the middle, which we spoke about yesterday, that needs to be addressed. Of all the players linked with, I think Neves would be fantastic. You know what I think about Neves. You know what I think about someone like Ndidi. I don't know who the best person is for that role. And maybe someone like Camavinga could be even better than I could ever imagine him being. But let's see what happens there. Hey, look at that. The Plot Malaysia. How you doing, my friend? Oh, I like your little... I like your avatar. Well, it looks like you're in a band. Anyway, the Plot Malaysia. Thank you very much for joining, my friend. Great to have you on board. Manoil, how you doing? OG. You think that this transfer window could be due to the protests and it is a one-time thing? Varane won't have the impact we want without a proper central defensive midfielder. I completely agree with you on the second point you've made there about I don't think Varane will have it. Varane will be unnecessarily overly exposed as a centre-back if we don't get a proper holding midfielder, somebody who can protect that back four, because he's just going to get players running at him too often. That's why it needs to be. That's why the hold is in. That's what I'm saying about the hole. Whether or not this transfer window is a consequence of the protests or not, we can only speculate. And from what I've seen personally in Manchester United's transfer strategy, when we make top four, we don't spend the summer after. We're switching that this year. This is only the second time I believe that we've done this. I think the other time was after Mourinho finished second and we still invested. And we all know what happened there. But we're switching it up this year. Whether that's a direct consequence of the protests and the Glazers are only doing this to placate fans, at that point, I don't really give a fuck. I'm just seeing Manchester United act like Manchester United should. I mean, look at Liverpool, man. Liverpool dominated the league. And since then, they've reined the spending back in. They're only signing one centre-back this year. They struggled with injuries last year. They've failed to keep, because it's all good and well winning the league once. The hardest thing to do is maintain it, to stay at the top of the pile whilst every single person is biting at your ankles. And that's what Fergie did twice, 3 times in a row, back to back to back. It's why he's the greatest ever. And it's why there's a pointless comparison trying to argue anything different. Stephen, how you doing? Saying, I read today about a swap deal with Haaland and Martial. What is true about this rumour? I think absolutely nothing is true about that rumour, my friend. I think Fabrizio Romano has actually said that diddly squat is happening with that. And I think, as I said before, I think Rashford's injury means that nothing will happen with Martial. Even if Ole Gunnar Solskjaer wanted to do something with Anthony Martial this summer, whether that be loaning him out or selling him, it can't happen because of Rashford's injury and the surgery that he is going to have. Comment here from JC saying, any news on the Saudi royals or Jeff Bezos buying the Glazers out? Well, Jeff is spending his money having a space race with Richard Branson, although he's got billions more. I've heard nothing really on anything to do with Manchester United being sold, and I'll be completely honest, especially after the investment this summer, don't expect it anytime soon. Maybe if we saw a summer where the Glazers really did not spend a penny, you might be anticipating that a sale's coming. But after this, again, I don't think they're going anywhere anytime soon. We've got, that's a good point, actually. What about Koundé, says Abdi? I've seen reports, plenty of reports, that Manchester United are still actually interested in signing Jules Koundé. I would be staggered. I would be absolutely staggered if Manchester United went out and signed Jules Koundé in the same summer that we signed Raphael Varane. And that's my own opinion. I might be wrong in thinking that, but I just don't really see how Manchester United are going to go out and sign another elite. Elite's a bit wrong. A big, expensive centre-back in Jules Koundé after Raphael Varane. I might be wrong. I might be completely wrong, but let's see what goes on there. I'm going to pull up a few more talking points. You can let me know. Let me know in the comments. Keep firing it. There's so many people watching right now. I'm sure plenty of you aren't subscribed. Just hit the subscribe button down below. It's free. I'm here Monday to Friday, 9:30 a.m. with the live streams throughout the season. I'm going to be building in 2 great videos a week. Going to be starting a podcast, match reviews, match previews, player ratings. Man, there's so much coming. There really is so much coming. So I'd love to have as many of you involved in that as possible. And definitely Orgasmo. Big up to you, my friend. If Bezos buys United, would be stoked. We can have our players delivered on Prime Delivery. I think you need to get an outdoor bed delivered on Prime Delivery, my friend, because you're definitely sleeping out there at some point. But look, whether it's Jeff Bezos, I personally think that not that I want to part the conversation about the Glazers selling Manchester United, but I would recommend that you part the conversation about it, because I don't think it's going to happen now. And that's not for me to say. That's not me saying stop the protests. As you see, I'm not wearing a United shirt. As I've told you, I paused my season ticket. I'm not funding the Glazers in any way, shape or form. As much as I'm not buying MUTV, I'm doing what I can. And I'm sure you're all doing what you can as well. It's just I don't really think that Manchester United will be selling, well, the Glazers will be selling Manchester United anytime soon. Let's have a look. There's a few more little snippets here from Manchester Evening News. And there we go. That's the bit we want. Absolutely, that's the bit we want. But as a keep firing your comments in, keep firing your super chats in. And look at that. Andres, been watching you for years and only just realized that I'm not a subscriber. Unbelievable. But at least you corrected your problem there, Andres, and welcome to the gang. Great to have you around as always. You've got David. So I can never watch your live streams. It always glitches very badly. I always watch them later on in the day. That's a bit strange, David. I'm not sure why that is. Apologies about that. But as I said, it's not always going to be just live streams here on United People's TV. I'm really enjoying them. It's important to do it during the summer because so much happens and so much happens quickly that you have to react to the news. But there will always be those researched, edited videos that I'm going to be bringing back twice a week to United People's TV when I bring in a video editor. As I said before, I'm looking to bring in a video editor into the channel. If you're a video editor and you'd like to be involved in United People's TV, drop me an email. info@thepeoplesperson.com. That's my email. Drop an email there. I'd like to get you involved. It's going to be a paid role, going to be reinvesting the money that's coming from the memberships back into the channel to make it bigger and better. But there's a few more little snippet points that we can talk about here. Moving on from Raphael Varane, who is the king of defence alongside Harry Maguire. Manchester Evening News here saying Manchester United's immediate preference is to sign a midfielder as they enter the last 5 weeks of the transfer window, though moves for another centre-back or a full-back have not been ruled out. That's an interesting one. I suppose that's where someone like Jules Koundé really does fall into that. He played right back for France in the Euros. That was the only place he could get in because he couldn't get in at centre-back. He can play centre-back as well for Sevilla. He's clearly a very talented all-round defender. And maybe you're going to see him come in and challenge Aaron Wan-Bissaka at right back and maybe be a backup option for Varane at centre-back. But what's the point in doing that when you just tied Eric Bailly to a new contract? A bit weird. But you can't rule that out. That's an interesting one. Skipping on to the next one here. Same story. A potential second defensive signing is underpinned by the fact Manchester United are open to letting a number of centre-backs leave the club following their agreement for Raphael Varane. And building on top of that, Axel Tuanzebe will go on a season-long loan, and Teden Menge is also expected to be loaned out for the whole campaign. Phil Jones is deemed surplus to requirements at Manchester United as he has not played in almost 18 months, but he's still contracted until 2023. Has there ever been a worse contract extension than Phil Jones? I know Marcus Rojo's was bad. I questioned whether Eric Bailly was the right idea, but I do not think there will be a worse contract extension than Phil Jones. It blows my goddamn mind. It really, really does. If we can imagine that, if we can get dream scenario here, ladies and gents, and this probably won't happen because it's not Football Manager, but Axel Tuanzebe gets the loan to the Premier League team that he deserves. He really deserves that. Teden Menge, well, if he loan him out, let's see how he gets on. He might be better in the Championship for a year. That's what Axel Tuanzebe did with Villa when he got promoted and he came in. Maybe Menge needs that, or maybe he's good enough for the Premier League. I don't know. But if both of those leave and Phil Jones, we get him off the books, and then we bring a new centre-back in, this squad is so much better and streamlined. It's like trimming off the fat. That's all Phil Jones is to the club now. Fat. You just want to get rid of it. I'm sorry, Phil. It's the way it goes. And Fergie didn't do you any favors, really, Phil Jones, when he said that you were basically going to be the new Duncan Edwards at 21, or you can play anywhere across the park. Because he set the expectations higher. Because Fergie didn't really do that. There weren't many examples of Fergie going in with a signing and bigging him up as much as he bigged you up. And therefore, your fall from grace was a hell of a lot worse. Really a hell of a lot worse. We've got AJ, how you doing, my friend? Member of the family, saying Jones must go even for free by Neves. I agree with both comments. Look, whether Jones, the problem with Jones is that he's on such high wages because of that contract extension that no one really can afford him. And at the same time, Phil Jones does not want to leave Manchester United because he's on a set of wages that he will not get anywhere else. It's whether or not Phil Jones at this point wants to play football, or whether Phil Jones at this point just wants to grind out the last couple of years of his failed football career and get as much money as possible. That's what we're doing. Got Push Pinder saying, hi, mate, how you doing? Varane, here we go. I tell you what, how fun was that yesterday? How fun was that? Let me pull up this little, let me pull something up for you here. What have I done with that? Oh, I've closed it. I know, man. Because Fabrizio Romano, I actually didn't realize, I was joking. I was joking when I was putting up Fabrizio Romano's name in the chat. I didn't actually realize that it was Fabrizio. Genuinely on my life, I didn't actually realize it was actually Fabrizio Romano who joined the chat. Someone got a screenshot for us and sent it over, which made me laugh as well. So thank you to Joe. Big up to Joe, one of the admins on Discord. He sent that over to me. But look at that. Fabrizio Romano jumped in the chat. Look, if that's not worth dropping a like on the video, then I don't know what is. Fabrizio Romano joined us yesterday on the live stream for the Here We Go. He dropped the Here We Go in the chat here on United People's TV. And that was a mad stream. My camera decided to run out of battery, which was always great fun. I've got it plugged in now. Look, no problems whatsoever. It's been a really nice stream. Everybody's joined in the comments. No Fabrizio Romano today, though. He's a bit rude, man. You joined in yesterday. You may as well join in today. But if that's not worth dropping a like on the video or subscribing to United People's TV, which is free to do, or joining becoming a member of the United People's TV community, there's a little join button down there. It's cheaper than the price of a pint, and it all gets invested back into the channel. But that was great yesterday. And as JC asked, how is my camera today? My camera's on, JC, which is the most important part. 3 words, 8 letters, here we go. Not I love you, here we go. Look, that was great fun yesterday. It was nice to be doing that. And look, Tony Mende, you've got a comment there saying Neves next. I'd love to have Neves next. I'd love to have any central midfielder next. And I think that's kind of the feeling I have at the moment now. Is I personally would love it to be Ruben Neves. I don't know. I just personally think he can be better than people expect him to be at Manchester United. And that's my own gut instinct and it's my own opinion. I might be wrong because some people feel that Nuno Mendes' tactics last year at Wolves held him back and forced him into a regressive role. Some people disagree with that and say that, no, Ruben Neves is just that's the sort of level of player he is. And if he goes to a team which is more progressive and has more ball dominance, that he won't go up a level. But as I spoke with Tom from Thomas Boff, actually, I think that's how you pronounce his name. He was saying, look, that's what I'm excited to see. I'm excited to see Neves in a team which controls the ball more and to see whether he can go up that level. And if he can, and Manchester United take advantage of that, we'd sign an outstanding player in Ruben Neves. Victor, how you doing, my friend? Yesterday's live stream will go down in history. I tell you what, it will go down in history. That was my favorite live stream so far. And that's why you go live, right? So things like that can happen whilst you're on stream and we can all react to it together. It was good fun. And I'm really glad I decided to go live before it because I saw something happening. I didn't think the Here We Go would come in the live stream, but I definitely saw something happening. Let's read a few more of your comments coming out here. Fat Thor, your preference is Neves, Camavinga, and then Saul Niguez. Saul Niguez is a massively different midfielder. And for me, it would probably be better to have Saul Niguez as a replacement for Paul Pogba rather than to throw him into a midfield with Paul Pogba and Bruno. That's a very aggressive midfield. What strikes me is it's going to leave gaping holes. Shaquem, you're saying Ruben would fit perfectly for me with the quality around him in United's team. Think about it. Obviously, as you've seen with Paul Pogba at France, he gets elevated when he plays with different players around him. And I think the same thing can happen with Ruben Neves. That's what it strikes me as. Ritesh, how you doing, my friend? If Pogba stays, can we see a peak Pogba as a central defensive midfielder with Varane complementing right behind him? He can leave if he wants, but peak Pogba can be helpful. Ritesh, I'll be honest, I don't think we're ever going to be seeing Paul Pogba at any point in his career playing as a holding midfielder. That won't happen. You only see him as part of a double pivot, and even at that, I don't think you're getting the best out of Paul Pogba. I think he's better as the opposite side of a midfield three with one holding midfielder and 2 central midfielders and Pogba on the left. That's where you get the best out of Paul Pogba. That's where his best performances come, not as a holding midfielder. Not to say that he couldn't do a job there, but he'd be doing a job there and he'd be holding back the good part of his game to do that. And a peak Paul Pogba really would help. As I said yesterday, and I'll say every single day, if he wants to play for United, I want him at my club. If he doesn't, get out. We'll replace you. We'll move on. Sushant here. How you doing, my friend? How bad of a job was Woodward doing can be understood by the fact that Murto and Fletcher have bagged 2 world-class signings out of 2. The protest did have an effect after all. Hope it lasts a long time. I think it's an excellent point you raised there, Sushant, because Woodward tried and failed to sign. Gareth Bale was one that jumps out at me. Sergio Ramos is another one that jumps out at me. Cesc Fabregas is another one that jumps out at me. And I'm sure you can tell me plenty more examples in the comments below. But we wanted Sancho last year. We didn't get Sancho last year. And I don't really think that was necessarily Ed Woodward's fault. I think that was just Dortmund being stubborn. And they didn't want him to leave unless it was for a stupid amount of money. Because this summer, we've signed Raphael Varane and Jadon Sancho for the price that Dortmund wanted just for Sancho last season. So it goes to show that the patience in waiting for him for Sancho has paid off. Manchester United made the right call. We finished second last year. Cool. If Jadon Sancho was in the squad last year, would it have been different? Would our asses have fell out when we went top of the league? I don't think Jadon Sancho on his own could have changed that enough. But Raphael Varane's come in, baby. That's exciting. Orgasmo, how you doing? Want to put my birthplace on the map, please? Absolutely, sir. Chun in Phao in Thailand. I've been to Thailand twice, man. I went to Thailand in 2008 and I went to Thailand in 2012. Phao in Thailand. I'm not. Where is that in Thailand? Let me have a quick look for you because you're an OG of the channel. Is it up north or is it down south? Let's have a look. Phao is. Where'd it go? I zoomed out too far. Oh, there it is. Oh, nice. Thailand, lovely place. If you've never been to Thailand, I recommend you go to Thailand. As always, you keep firing in the comments. You keep firing in the super chats. And please, if you're new, hit that subscribe button down below. Yesterday on the live stream, over 100 of you signed up and subscribed. It was a great live stream. And we're just short. We're coming up to the big 200K. Going to maybe have to do a giveaway at that point as well. I've got a lovely thing down here, which I might be giving away. I can't show you yet. It's a little secret. But I always want, and I always will be doing giveaways on the channel. All of you contribute. All of you send in your super chats. All of you send in and become part of the family, join as members. I want to keep doing what I can to give back to you. And as I said, if you're a video editor and you want to become involved in United People's TV, send me an email, info@thepeoplesperson.com. I'd love to bring one of the members of the community in and become a video editor and get involved because I want to take the channel upwards. Oh, look, Victorim, how you doing, my friend? Saying, just watch the video on Neves with the Wolves fan. Wow, that Everton game. If he's doing that for Wolves, imagine what he can do with this United team. Honestly, I would recommend... Oh, look, Orgasmo is saying it's up north. I would recommend that conversation I had with Thomas Boff. It's on the channel. Ruben Neves explained. It's a nice 25-minute chat with somebody who's watched the 4 years of Neves at Wolves. And it's fair to say he knows more about Neves than any journalist really does because he's a fan. He's watched him and he's seen him. He's seen his good parts and his bad parts. And there's a few games he points out. He's saying, look, go. This is Ruben Neves at his prime. Last year, he wasn't Ruben Neves at his prime. And neither were Wolves. That's why they kind of fell off the boat. Fell off the wagon, not the boat. Rajan saying, get Agent Bruno to sign Neves. I saw somebody who sent me a good message on Twitter. I think his name was Abby. He's saying, look, Rashford's got his friend. We signed Jadon Sancho. Paul Pogba's got his friend. We signed Raphael Varane. I think Bruno needs to get his friend at the club and bring in Ruben Neves. That would be lovely. We got Andreas saying, Ruben, hi Sam, United used to scout credible European players, i.e. Ronaldo and Nani abroad, and they need to continue doing that instead of buying overpriced English players like we did last season. Obviously, I don't think the Manchester United's scouting is not working. I mean, obviously, I can't really say that because I don't know it behind the scenes. But certainly what we've seen in the last few years is just clever signings from Manchester United. Smart signings. Let's head over here quickly. We can see this. We can run through this together to sort of, I can show you my point. So these are the signings that we've made under Solskjaer here. And what I will actually do is I'm going to rank Solskjaer signings at some point soon. That'll be a nice video to do, and it'll be cool to run through with you. But looking at the signings we've made, like the hit rate is sensationally good. Harry Maguire, hit. Bruno Fernandes, hit. Aaron Wan-Bissaka, hit. Dan James, well, I wouldn't call it a hit. I wouldn't call it a failure, if I'm being completely honest. I think Dan James is a good squad player, and as long as he stays as a squad player, I think he's a good signing. Donny van der Beek, miss. So far, he's a miss. Let's find out what goes on there. Amad Diallo, we don't know whether that's going to be a hit or not, but fingers crossed it will be. Alex Telles, it depends which way you look at it. On his own, individually, it's a miss. But in terms of what happened with Luke Shaw after he signed, it's a massive hit. Let's see what goes on there. Facundo Pellistri, we don't know what's going to happen with him. He looks excellent in pre-season, but he's probably going to go out on loan again. And Edinson Cavani on a free transfer was an absolutely spectacular hit. And now this summer, we've got Jadon Sancho. We know that's a hit. And we've got Raphael Varane. We know that's a hit. Solskjaer's signings have been very meticulous, very clever, very smart. We're signing players for certain reasons that fit a profile that we want. And therefore, that's helping Manchester United go step upwards, season on season. Summer on summer, our squad is getting better. This summer now, it's really important that we trim the fat, that we get rid of Phil Jones, that if Axel Tuanzebe wants to leave on loan, he leaves on loan. Tenemenge, he leaves on loan. That we get rid of Jesse Lingard, in my opinion, that if Diogo Dalot's going out on loan, he goes out on loan. What's happening with Paul Pogba? It's so important. It's just as important for a squad every year to be trimmed down in the same way as it's so important every summer to bring new players in. Now, this summer, we've done the new players right. We've got Jadon Sancho and we've got Raphael Varane, 2 elite level players, world-class signings added into this team. But at the same time, we need to get rid of some players. And it's really important now. We've got 5 weeks left. As I said, it's a nicer thing. It really is a wonderful thing to watch Manchester United sign the players we need first, and then we leave the other 5 weeks to spend our time selling players. It's a smarter way to operate. It's just not really the way United have operated previously. Got Stuart here saying, I'm struggling to believe Real would let him and Ramos go unless they know something we don't. They may be financially in trouble, but they've got Deb Wood to sell. I'm just a little skeptical. Fair enough, Stu. I can understand the skepticism because, you know, we're Manchester United fans. We have to be a little bit skeptical of things. But the fact of the matter is that Real Madrid are in serious debt, Stu. Huge debt. It's why they push so hard for the European Super League alongside Barcelona. Billions worth of debt between the two clubs. And Raphael Varane is a big asset to them, a great player to them, who's going to be leaving for free next summer unless he signs a new contract this summer. Therefore, they put themselves between a rock and a hard place. They are either willing to pay Ramos the wages and break their own clear wage structure to keep him at the club, or they lose him. And they decided not to lose him for free, but to lose him for £40 million. And given how much debt they have, the priorities at Real Madrid have changed now. They're not the Galacticos. They're going to go and sign and spend 60, 80 million on like 7 players every summer. They can't do that anymore. And that's why it's different. That's why, for me personally, I'm not really skeptical about Varane. I just think we've managed to bag someone in their prime because of another club ballsing up. Shakeem, you're saying, honestly, I would like to see our next target done swiftly. It's been forever since we get a deal done as fast as we did for Varane. It's lovely to see, as I said, Manchester United acting like Manchester United, as we all feel they should in the transfer window. Going out and not just being linked with fucking Sean and Matty Longstaff. You remember that? And there are so many other players like that. They'd be like, huh? What? Where does that come from? Not the case with Raphael Varane, certainly not. And not the case with Jadon Sancho. But we're being linked with the players that we want to, and we're actually getting them. Jadon Sancho was our top target this summer. Raphael Varane was our top defensive target. Bang, bang. Who's our top midfield target? I don't know. Camavinga is the only one that we can really say that we've been linked with. But a comment here from Victorim. How you doing, Victorim? Nice to see you, my friend. Do you believe that United can sign Ndidi if they really wanted to get him? It might cost a lot, but he's worth the money and makes United favourites for the title. That's how good he is. I personally think that United could definitely go and get Ndidi. And remember that I believe Leicester has signed Soumer from Lille, who operates in a similar sort of holding role. So maybe they're already preparing for his exit. Ndidi would cost what? You let me know in the comments below. How much would Wilfred Ndidi cost if Manchester United went and signed him? Probably in the region of, in my opinion, 50 to 60. I think would be a fair estimation. And it depends whether or not you really genuinely feel that United needs to sign a defensive powerhouse in someone like Ndidi, or someone who's got a bit more craft to his game, someone like Saul Niguez. It depends whether you think this defensive midfielder has to be purely defensive or whether he can be more of a central midfielder. I don't know, because I've heard that as an opinion, and I don't want to dismiss it because I think it's a fair kind of conversation. Abby, how you doing, my friend? Nice to see you. Member of the family. Well, that's done with 2 signings that were needed for a few years. Now we need a CM or a DM. Desperately, we do need that, my friend. We needed a right winger. Boom, we got one. We needed a centre-back. Boom, we got one. We got the best. Now we need to get a central defensive midfielder. Neves and Saul would be ideal. What's my thought on Calvin Phillips? Ask Kumaran. How you doing, Kumaran? Nice to have you here. Make sure you drop a like on the video, my friend. I personally think Calvin Phillips was very impressive in the Euros. He impressed me more than Declan Rice did at the start of the tournament, but then I think Rice grew into the tournament and was the more impressive player in the bigger games towards the end. Calvin Phillips has obviously done a very good job at Leeds. He's built into the Bielsa style of play. The guy's got a tank. He's an engine. He's up and down. He's up and down. And that sort of mobility and dynamism could bring a lot to that role for Manchester United. But I haven't watched Leeds, funnily enough, so I don't really know whether or not he can play as a single pivot. He played as a double pivot with Rice, and I think he did it pretty well. Let me see how much you think Wilfred and Ndidi would cost. Loads and loads of comments coming in here. Joel Francis, you're saying 50 million. Salman Rafiq, you're saying 65. Ruben saying 40 plus Lingard or James. Hey, Lingard to Leicester would be a fantastic move for Lingard and a fantastic signing for Leicester. I like that idea. Abby, you're saying 70 million. Let's have a look. Cameron, you're saying 60 to 80. Lingard plus 30 for Ndidi. Look, quite a few of that. Ndidi is 65 max, including add-on, says Orgasmo. I think we're all sort of... You're all in. I say you're all in and around. You're all between 45 and 65. That's probably the rough estimations for Ndidi. And it's the sort of signing that could transform our hopes next year. For me, I've told you, I don't think it matters how good Raphael Varane is. I don't think it matters how good Jadon Sancho is. We're going to see our midfield bypassed a lot this season. And we're going to find ourselves hit on the edge of our own box a little bit too much. Or we're going to see, because we've got Varane, we'll play more aggressive with our higher line and sort of negate too much of a need for a defensive midfielder because we're going to squeeze that space out by playing higher up the pitch. There's different ways to approach it. And maybe there are things... We don't know what the conversations with Ole Gunnar Solskjaer and the coaching squad is behind the scenes. But as far as I'm concerned, I'll be very surprised if they're not having a big conversation about signing a defensive midfielder. Surely they're having a big conversation about that because you can't ignore it. There's 3 big holes in the squad. We filled 2 of them. And there's one more big hole in that squad. Tell you what, my laptop wasn't on charge. That nearly ran out of battery. And that would have been the end game. I'm really not very good at plugging things in. What an idiot. What an idiot. Let's head down to the comments here, see what you're all saying, and then maybe we wrap this up. In fact, before I wrap it up, I'm going to quickly do a quick run through of the main story today. And the main story, of course, you know, it's Raphael Varane. You drop a like on the video for Raphael Varane, won't you? But Raphael Varane, the fee, 34 million. Let me just zoom in on that. 34 million, man. I'm going to be scratching my head about this for a long, long time. Absolutely long time. 34 million for Raphael Varane is an insane bit of business. We've taken advantage of Real Madrid messing up with his contract, and we've got him cheap. Hey, Kumaran, how you doing, my friend? You leave a comment, and then you join as a member. Lovely to have you around. Welcome aboard. Keep leaving your comments, my friend, and I'll keep reading them out. Got Neves here saying, sorry, JC saying, Neves might not be an ideal holding CM, but can be molded into one. Remember, Scholes started as a striker. Look, JC, you are preaching to the choir here, my friend. And that's why I think I just see Ruben Neves as somebody that can be molded and coached into exactly what we need. That's my own opinion. I might be wrong, but I'm not a football manager. But 34 million for Raphael Varane. Wah, wah, wee, wah. Wah, wah, wee, wah. That's so cheap, as Borat would say. And I like this little snippet here that came out from Romano saying, look, Raphael Varane told Real Madrid during the weekend, I want something new. I want a challenge. I respect you, but I'm not extending my contract. And then he said, if you are not happy with United's proposal, I'm leaving as a free agent. So basically, without putting in a transfer request, Raphael Varane politely let Real Madrid know, I'm not signing a new deal, guys. You either lose me for free or you let me go this summer. Andy D, how you doing, my friend? What about Barella from Inter? He could be my perfect midfielder, in my opinion. Look, Barella was excellent for Italy during Euro 2020. We all saw that. But Fabrizio Romano has already absolutely poo-pooed that. He said there's absolutely no chance that he's leaving Inter Milan. And I'll be surprised anyway because they won the Euros. He's on a high. He's joining Inter. They won the league last year. It's a good time to be an Italian player in Italy. And I don't think Barella's leaving anytime soon. And that's something that Fabrizio Romano has confirmed. As good as signings he would be, Inter are definitely not going to be letting him go. Heading back over to the comments here. Unfortunately, we're going to have to wait a little bit to see Raphael Varane in a Manchester United shirt. Mohamed Bahafsi confirmed it last night that he has to quarantine when he arrives, which means he's going to be flying to Manchester this week, but his medical is going to be starting next week. So we're going to have to wait until next week to see Raphael Varane holding up that Manchester United shirt. And I'll be honest, we can wait a week. I don't really mind waiting another week to sign Raphael Varane because we've already signed him. The fee's been agreed. The wages have been agreed. The difficult part is out of the way. He just needs to come and pass that medical. And then we see him holding up that shirt, baby. Let me head down to the comments here. And then we might wrap this one up for today. Unless everyone keeps firing any comments and firing any super chats. And then I'll probably have to stay around forever and never sleep again. Abby, you're saying he has the best to learn from Carrick and Fletcher. And that's something, again, something I really feel very strongly about. we've got excellent midfield coaches there. Carrick and Fletcher, two very different types of midfielders. Carrick is all about, he's the playmaker. He's the QB from deep. That's Carrick's best assets. And it's something that Ruben Neves can do, but certainly Carrick can improve and help on that. And Fletcher was a combative, battling midfielder. Somebody who you just, and I always, every time I think of Fletcher, it hurts me. I get pangs in my stomach to think about that tackle he did against Fabregas in the semi-final in 2009? I always get pangs of pain for that perfectly made tackle that he got sent off for and he missed the final, and we needed him in the final. But Fletcher and Carrick helping Neves. He's only 24. Ruben Neves looks like your old uncle. He's like 38 and he's been smoking 20 a day. But he's not. He's 24. He's got so much of his career ahead of him. Mad. I've definitely had this one before, Lucid Gamer, saying, I must be Fletcher's brother. I've 100% had these one. I've definitely had that before. Someone mentioned Paul Scholes as well in the comments. You'd be surprised. He's actually blonde. It's the lighting. It's only the lighting. But look, I'll wrap this up for today, or I'm going to be speaking all day. These streams are getting bigger and better every single time. I love the comments. I love the interactions. It's great fun to have all of you on board. Thank you to everybody who's joined as a member over the last couple of days. It's brilliant to have you on board. I will say one more time. Oh, look, Orgasmo. Okay, I've got to make it last. Right. I can't ignore that comment. You get an extra 5 minutes. Let's see. Let me head down to the comments here. You keep firing in your comments then. Keep firing in your questions. I'll give you 5 minutes now, and I'll answer all your questions. As many as I can anyway. You've got Ajay saying this transfer window is the most exciting after many years. Sancho, Varane, and a central defensive midfielder. You're absolutely spot on there, my friend. It really, really is. We're just making the right moves. Jack, how you doing? Nice seeing you, my friend. How do we get rid of Fabrizio Romano? He causes player values beyond reach. 45 million quid converted to Malaysian ringgit is 250. I'm not really sure if I understand that one, but we don't want to get rid of Fabrizio Romano. He joined the comments yesterday, my friend. He was the one who came in here and gave us a little here we go in the chat. Let me pull that up again. Not going to forget that anytime soon, are we, ladies and gents? That was great to see that yesterday. Look at that. Here we go. Fabrizio. Honestly, when I pulled up Fabrizio Romano's name on the screen, I was joking in thinking it was Fabrizio Romano because I couldn't see the tick. In the comments of where I'm looking here, I couldn't see the tick. So I didn't actually know it was him, which made it even more funny. The Plot Malaysia, how you doing? New member saying, the Varane the best defender since Vidic. Yeah, I think he will be. I really think he will be. And remember that Vidic is a bit of a different player to Raphael Varane. I think Varane's sort of a blend, really, of Rio and Vidic. He's not really a hugely dominant centre-back that's going to be aggressive, but he also he can play with the ball at his feet. I think he's a bit of a blend of both, really. Matt Webley saying, just join. What's the news? The news, my friend, is that Raphael Varane is going to cost £34 million this summer. Raphael Varane, 34 million. 34 million, Raphael Varane. Ben White, 50 million, Arsenal. Unbelievable. We've got him so cheap. It's ridiculous. And someone there, Celtic, saying, Varane is 28. Why can't we get someone younger? Because right now, what we need in this defense, my friend, is experience, is quality, is knowledge, is leadership. Varane ticks all the boxes of what we need as a centre-back. And his natural position is right centre-back. And Harry Maguire's natural position is left centre-back. They're going to complement each other very, very well. Let me head down to the comments here, see what else we're saying. Varane is no Vidic. Vidic is ruthless. I agree with you, Jack, on that one. Vidic was just a different gravy, an absolutely different level of defender that I don't think we will really see. And Jonathan Ball will leave in a comment that I completely agree with. Rio Ferdinand was the Rolls Royce of defenders. I've never seen a player so capable with the ball at his feet than Rio Ferdinand. And it's why their partnership works so well. You had the creator and the ball player in Rio Ferdinand, and he had the bouncer next door, the dominant bouncer who just wouldn't let anybody in with or without ID. Fat Thor saying, do we need a new assistant manager to take care of the pitch matters? Similar to Quiros. I remember that when Carlos Quiros came in, and he was the reason we switched to 4-3-3, and he was the reason he helped inspire that dominant period that we had. We have Ronaldo, Rooney, Tevez, Nani, Berbatov was up there. We played 4-3-3. We switched to a European style of football, and that's when we won the double. Probably the best season I've watched personally as a Manchester United fan was that season. I don't think who are our assistants now? We've got Michael Carrick. We've got like assistants. We've got Michael Carrick, Kieran McKenna. Don't think that Darren Fletcher's an assistant. I think he's more of a coach. But I don't know. I like our coaching setup. I think I don't know why I'm going to change it. Actually, no. I hate our set piece and defending coaching setup. That needs improving. But other areas, I can see benefits of it. And certainly, Solskjaer needs to be improve himself tactically, improve himself in in-game management. There's things that he's still learning on the job, but he's going to learn on the job. Got Nicholas here saying, my brain, we are excited, but let's get some goals. Varane and Sancho should get us a minimum of over 80 points. My heart, 21 is coming. Ladies and gentlemen, get down to your local suit tailor. Get your tie done. Get your suit fitted and measured, because we are going to be partying in May with that parade. Don't you worry about that. Ritesh, excellent point here. Bruno and Sancho, a lot of clever passes are coming. I think that's going to be Bruno. Must be rubbing his hands together, because we're matching his ambition. Bruno, if Bruno didn't join when he joined, we wouldn't have Sancho this summer. We wouldn't have Varane this summer. We'd still be that laughing stock. But Bruno brought us up to a level where you could see us bringing these players in and making a difference. Got Peter here comment saying, Sam, thoughts on the Rooney issue, please. Looks like he's having a bit of trouble at Derby. Looks like Derby aren't giving him the players that he needs or wants. And then apparently he's gone in two-footed on one of the defenders and actually injured someone for like 12 weeks. Which I find hilarious. I know I shouldn't laugh. It's not funny, but it is hilarious. The fact that all this stuff is going on at the moment with Rooney and the club not letting him sign players, and then he just goes in 2 foot to play and puts one out for 12 weeks. It's hilarious. It really is hilarious. Right, let's go for a couple more comments here. We don't need a defender like Vidic, says Short Football Videos, but we need someone who has the mentality of Vidic. I only see that mentality in McTominay. I personally think that mentality is where the benefit of Varane comes in. That's where someone like Varane really can make such a difference. He's going to take our mentality up to places it just has not been for real. Rick saying, when Sam read my first comment on live, I also screenshot it. Big up to you. Keep that screenshot. Put it on the wall. If West Ham want Lingard, we should try and use him for the Rice deal if United want a proper defensive midfielder. Honestly, big up to you, Victor, and big up to you, Orgasmo, and big up to every single one of you that keeps sending in the super chats. As I keep saying, anything that comes in, it's only going to go back into the channel to make it bigger and better, and I can't wait to see what happens this season. But I don't personally think that Lingard's going to be used in any sort of make weight as part of the Rice deal, and I don't think we're going to be signing Rice. He will cost like 90, 100 million. I don't think we're going to be paying that. I don't think we should be paying that. And therefore, I don't think we're going to be signing Declan Rice. I don't think anyone's going to sign Declan Rice. I think next summer, come back to it, you're looking at Rice at like 50 million. And then United might go in for it. But it depends on who United sign this summer. Kumran, you're saying, I think this is one of the best transfer markets for United so far. In terms of the signings and what we need, you're absolutely spot on. But United now have 5 weeks left. And there's still so much to do. Defensive midfielder. Sell Lingard. Sort the Pogba situation out. Diogo Dalot, is he going out on loan? Axel Tuanzebe, is he going out on loan? Can we get rid of Phil Jones? There's 6 or 7 question marks on deals that still could happen. So Manchester United need to make sure that they keep doing it, because we've started it very well and we've left ourselves in a position now. We've got 5 weeks. We don't have to be scrapping around to sign Sancho or Varane. We've got it done. And that's important. It should mean that the end of the transfer window is a bit different. What I'll do now is I will wrap it up. I know we could speak all day. Maybe I'll be back later on. Maybe I'll do some evening shows. I don't know. But thank you to every single one of you who joined in the comments, as you always do. I'll be back here tomorrow at 9:30 in the morning. Today was a great show. I hope you enjoy it. I hope it helped you understand exactly what's going on with the Varane deal in terms of the fee, the medical, the quarantine, when he's going to be unveiled as a Manchester United player. There's so much more exciting things coming in the weeks ahead. But drop a like on the video if you are still here and you are new. Thank you very much. Subscribe on United People's TV on YouTube if you haven't, and share if you're watching it on Facebook. If you want to, join as a member. There's a member button down below. There's a join button down below on YouTube. It's less than the price of a pint. Any money we do make from that's going back into the channel. And if you're on Facebook, there's a link in the description of this video. Just click that, go through, again, less than the price of a pint, and it helps the channel. But thank you very much to every single one of you for your comments. Thank you for joining me today. I'll be back here tomorrow. Until then, though, take it easy.